This version of the presentation will cover the traffic volumes in the area surrounding public road and along public road. The first slide here shows that a typical weekday in 2017, these are counts that were taken in 2017. And you can see the volumes on here range anywhere from 10,000 vehicles a day to 35,000 vehicles a day. The yellow dot is public road, which has approximately 10,000 vehicles a day. South Boulder Road, down in the corner there with 20,000 vehicles a day, which is also comparable to Baseline Road, which has about 20,000 vehicles a day. The highest volume is the bypass, 287, with about 35,000 vehicles a day. So this slide gives you a context of the daily traffic volumes that occur on public road. When we did the counts, we actually separated out different areas to understand traffic flows and differences in different parts of public road. So this is the north part of public road near Cleveland, which is almost near Baseline. And what you're seeing here on these bars are the number of daily vehicles. And so this is the number of daily vehicles Monday through Sunday. So the yellow bar on the left is Monday. You see Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then the right bar is Sunday. What you can see here is there's a pretty consistent daily traffic pattern between Monday and Saturday. So roughly in the 9,000 vehicle range, Monday through Saturday, which is interesting because in commuting corridors, you typically see this big drop off on the weekends. But in this context, you see a pretty consistent traffic pattern Monday through Saturday. So these are daily traffic patterns in the north part of the corridor. When you go to the south part of the corridor, so this is at Kimbark, which is further south down Public Road, almost near South Boulder Road. You can see once again that there's a pretty consistent pattern here Monday through Saturday, and then a fall off of volumes on Sunday. So the Monday through Saturday pattern is roughly in the 10,005 to 11,000 vehicles a day. And so once again, the y-axis here is the daily vehicles. So a pretty consistent pattern during the week, and then that continues into Saturday. So from there, we went back to the north part of the corridor, and what we're looking at are hourly volumes. So this is one day. This is a Tuesday, and this is a day that has around 9,300 vehicles in a day. And what we've done here is we've looked at it hourly. So the left hand of the graphic here is midnight, and then it goes all the way through midnight the next day. So you can see the ramp up at around 6 o'clock, and then it kind of gradually builds during the course of the day to around the 4 or 5 o'clock hour where it peaks, and then it comes back down. This is in the north part of the corridor. So what's interesting about this is it doesn't have two big peaks. Kind of once again trying to tell us that maybe this corridor is on a commute corridor. It's more of a kind of a consistent corridor. There's almost like a shelf of traffic that is in kind of the 600 vehicle range that hangs out most of the day. And yes, there's some peaking that happens in the evening, but it's kind of the shelf and then a peak at the end. If you go to the Saturday traffic, so this is once again on the north end of the corridor, and this is at Cleveland, you can see that the pattern has a similar shelf. So traffic volumes start around 9 o'clock and they get up around that 600 vehicle range, and then they maintain pretty consistent through the course of the day. So if you go back and forth between these two, you can kind of see that traffic during the week, this is a Tuesday as an example, kind of benches up, and yes, there's a PM peak, and on the Saturday it's also kind of benching, and so that it has a pretty consistent pattern through most of the day. The next way that we looked at the data was to look at northbound compared to southbound traffic. So the blue bars are vehicles driving north on public road, and the red bars are vehicles driving south on public road. And what you can see here is a pretty equal balance of north and southbound. There are clearly some points of the day where there's a little bit of a difference, maybe 50 or 60 vehicles difference, but pretty consistent north and southbound traffic. And so this is another data point of kind of speaking to the fact that the corridor probably is not oriented to commuting traffic, that there's kind of a consistent pattern, because we don't see a lot of people heading, as an example, south to Denver or southern areas in the morning and then north back in the afternoon. It's a pretty consistent pattern through the day of north and south. And so this is weekday. And then if you look at this data again on a weekend, so this is a Saturday, and we're looking at the difference between people driving north and people driving south. And you can see there's a little bit of a change. So if you look at that 3 o'clock bar, there's a pretty big red bar southbound and a smaller bar northbound. That could be maybe for different activities or going down in the south part of the corridor on a Saturday afternoon. So that's kind of the one differentiation. But we don't see that consistently through the day, and nor do we see any of those big variations. If you go back here and look at the week, like weekday traffic, you're not seeing these big variations. You only see it one time on a Saturday afternoon. And then finally, we looked at speed data. And so we looked at 76,000 vehicles during the course of a week. And of those 76,000 vehicles, we're able to build a speed distribution graphic here. And if you look to the far left, that small bar on the x-axis, it says 10 to 15. That means miles per hour. The next group's 15 to 20 miles an hour. And then 20 to 25 miles an hour. And then 25 to 30 is that yellow bar. The road is actually public road is posted at 25 miles an hour. So you see the two largest bars of all the samples. These were samples during an entire week, so all times of day. You see that most people are driving within that 20 to 30 mile an hour range. And so what we use as a standard is the 85th percentile speed, which is a way to say that the speed at which 85% of the people are driving. That is in the 25 to 30 mile an hour range. And yes, there are people who are driving beyond that. You see this 30 to 35 mile an hour red bar, and then 35 to 40 red bar, and then there's actually a really small red bar in the 40 to 45 mile an hour. And those higher speeds typically occur during off-peak periods or overnight, as an example. And so this is a distribution graphic of the traffic speeds for 76,000 vehicles.